them steppers, huh? But you can't step with us. Niggas swear they certified steppers, but don't step enough. Oh, you be with them steppers, huh? But you can't step with us. Niggas swear they certified steppers, but don't step enough. Oh, you be with them steppers.
Welcome to another episode of the Certified Steppaz Podcast. I see my dog looking at me. Hey, listen, this is about to be a fun conversation based off the energy off camera. But listen, I am your host, KP. Y'all know what's on with me. My partner, Smooth, is off. He had to be out another week for some personal family business, so he at home. Salute, Brody. See you when you get back. But y'all already know I got a special guest with me right now.
Special?
Super.
Come on, man. Don't do that to me, making me
y'all may know him one way, actor extraordinaire.
Wow.
Mr. Real Estate around Houston and all these things that he got going on. I just know him as Sailor Marv, Young Marv.
Talk about it.
Mr. Ah.
That's more for that op, huh?
This is my guy Marvin Young, man. What's up, bro?
What's up, baby?
What's going on?
I see what you're doing. Get your words together. Introductions. Go ahead, boy.
Hey, man. First and foremost, thank you for pulling up to the cave.
Oh, man, no problem.
I appreciate you for stepping in. I want to get into your background because, I'm going to tell you right now, bro, because, I know you from college. Like, we got history. Yeah. I never saw you coming. but being real, like in the way that you came, like pause.
Yeah.
Big pause. Yeah, big pause. Yeah. Like I always knew because our whole fucking roommate situation was a house full of nuts. Minus Isaiah. Isaiah was the nigga that we knew to leave alone.
He was kind of an oddball, though.
That nigga was big. I'm not fucking with him.
You didn't know what he was thinking at times, and he walked with so much aggression.
Right.
Yeah.
I left him alone, but everybody, you kind of saw the personality there, right? Yeah. So I already knew the potential was there. Mm-hmm. But when I say I never saw you coming, it was like, I saw you when you jumped into real estate. I was like, yeah, that makes sense for bro with his personality. Yeah. But when I saw you on the big screen,
come on, man, don't do that.
I said, oh, my nigga, he there. Yeah, so, before we jump into all the stuff that we're going to talk about in terms of background, I really want to start there. Like, I want to start, right when we finished up college, because I think you were like a year or two behind me. Yeah. Right? When we got out of college, walk me through what that transition looked like for you, because we came out in that financial crisis era. True. Like, I was in the middle of it. You caught the after effects of it in 11, 12, whatever that was. Yeah. But at what point was it a real estate jump for you? And then walk me to how that turned into a whole acting career. Give me that, paint that picture for me.
Well, man, after school, man, I was still in acting, still doing that. And I just got to a point where I wanted more, man. I had family that was already here. And I want to experience that. I've always been in the country, so to speak. So I've never really been in a position where I can truly, understand what life was outside of the South. Well, I mean, Houston's still the South, but I always say it's just cowboys dressed up. Right. But, as far as skyscrapers and, the big buildings and all that, man, I never really had a chance to experience that. So, man, after school, we just took a leap of faith. I was married at the time. And moved to Houston. Then, the normalcy of it all. I didn't want to come here and continue to be normal. I wanted to do something that was going to, spark my interest, my intellect, something that was going to set me apart from, the day-to-day, from, everybody else was doing that I was accustomed to. Yeah. And for some reason, man, I had an epiphany coming here because everything was so big and so large. My family, man, growing up, we used to ride around looking at houses. Like the big pretty houses, stuff that we really couldn't afford, especially around Christmas time. We saw the lights and stuff. And I guess for me, I understood, what I wanted, but at the same time, I wanted access too. So I know, with real estate, it gives you that. So I was able to go into properties and help people, get into a home and all that type of stuff. I was changing lives because I was big on that too. I wanted to make an impact. So that's how I got into real estate, man. And, doing that for a little while, my personality in that helped me to understand, like, hey, I can do a little bit more. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Martin, man. Believe it or not, I watch Martin all the time still. Yeah, you know that. You knew that. And I just, I had a friend that was actually taking classes. Was Renee. Shout out to Renee Rivon. And she got me in the class, man. Renee started training me probably after the first session, man. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna do this.
Claiming that shit.
I'm gonna do this because it was so natural, man. It was just something, I did, off the whim. But as you dig deeper into it, I got obsessed with it, man. I got, I was able to become somebody different. Yeah. And I think with that, that intrigued me to the point to where I don't want to do this more. I want to do this more. So I did stage and, doing film. I got me, a few agents now, man, working on management. Trying to take this as big as I can take it.
Absolutely. And like I've seen you, so you've plugged me already with the movie. So I've seen you in a few movies, and like you're right, you can look at it and you know how it's kind of like when me and you had that conversation when you congratulated me about the pod, and we ain't gonna go into all that what was said, but it was now seeing your footage out, I got that same feeling. I was like, bro, walking in his purpose.
Yeah, man.
Like he doing this thing, he walking in his purpose. Like really quickly, plug to me like name some of the movies and projects that you've worked on and where the people can find that. Really quick.
Y'all can go to right now. They just uploaded. In fact, I have about 3 or 4. They're going to be uploaded in 2022 on Tubi. You can go right now to Tubi and look up Her Only Fan. It's a free app. You can go to anywhere that has Tubi, where it's available. You can download it and type in Her Only Fan. I'm a part of that film there. And if you have Apple TV, Fire Stick, or Roku, you can download this app called SGA TV Network. Now, in order to watch it on Apple, the Apple TV, or the Fire Stick, you got to have the box. That's the only way you can really download the app. But it's SGA TV Network. There's a film called, actually a TV series called The Season, and there's another short film that's on there that's called Next Lifetime. I'm a part of those as well. And I got some more that's dropping on.
Next Lifetime. Son.
Hey, boy.
That's what I wanted to have a conversation about. Boy, I said, when I watch Next Lifetime, because first of all, I ain't gonna hold you. You should have like me and our other partner, Lavore, he was at the crib watching.
Shout out Lavore.
So I was so mad. I said, I know they're not holding my dog out like this, like he gonna accept that.
That's crazy. You know what's crazy? I get that all the time. The people that know me like, dog, why you let them, you know what I'm saying? What you doing? Like, they mad at me. I'm like, dog, that's not me. It's a character.
Nah, so
it
she
ain't
in
me.
your face. I say, man, this man, that's saying then he went get it. Oh, he went get it.
Man. But what's crazy about that whole joint, man, is like, shout out to Jacob and the whole team, Malcolm Quarter. Man, they put it together, dog, and I didn't actually, I didn't think I can get that for real. Like, touching on another point, my background and all that, man, we do what we see. We become accustomed to, we see drug dealers, the thugs, and this and that with the wolf.
Absolutely.
So it's not hard to channel that. You know what I'm saying? So, but with that particular film, you know what I'm saying, me having to go into a whole different...
You ain't never been no simp, huh?
I ain't never, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, man. But see, that's the beauty of acting, man. Like, it's not you at that moment. It's the character. You're telling the story. So, but I get that all the time. Like, I can't believe, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all go watch that, man. So
that was a dope movie. That was definitely a dope movie.
Yeah.
That was called Next Lifetime, right?
Next Lifetime.
Yeah,
right.
And that was actually the first one I watched. It made me go watch everything else. And I'm like, that's why I was like, yo, I'm proud of bro or whatever.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Now, kind of tell me about what's the difference in growing up in the industry here in Houston versus like being out there in Hollywood, and what challenges do you face? If somebody was like trying to walk the same road you walking and they doing it here in Houston, what are some of the trials and tribulations and challenges that they gonna run into walking this path opposed to just moving to LA?
Man, I always said, I wouldn't say be the man. I heard this from a few people, man, but you gotta be somebody in your own city. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that, you want to go and jump and, and do the big screen. I mean, as far as the big city, LA or Atlanta, which is cool. I'm not knocking that. If you want to do that, by all means, do that. Yeah. But for me, in my timeline and the way it was set up for me, I had to work here. So I was able to train. I was able to get familiar with the business. I was able to get familiar with, how this whole thing works. Because mind you, I'm new. I don't know nothing about, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it's like, going out there where I could be possibly taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody in LA because I've thought about that. I'll be in totally new territory. The way they work down there, I'll be totally alone, which is, it's fine. But I don't want to jump there without a resume or something to show like, yo, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Give me an opportunity. You see what I've done before, with more training, more publicity, more experience, who knows where I can take this. So my advice to anybody here, man, just start where you at. Take on the opportunity that's in front of you. And continue to learn, man, grow. It takes time. Like, you're not going to just become this Denzel Washington overnight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the big thing about it is training. You gotta train. Anything that you want to do, learn information about it. Just like with any sport, any type of, endeavor or any type of business move you're trying to make, you gotta learn about that business. Learn about your product, learn about the service.
Everything is a muscle.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta flex that. You gotta work that up.
You gotta work it.
So you can be efficient in what you're doing. So
absolutely. I agree 100%. That's how I started living my life, honestly, bro. It's like, we preach hit the gym, get physically fit, stay in shape, right? But then when you start thinking about your mind as a weapon in the muscle, right, in the brain, and like,
that can
emotions
stop.
and all that.
Yeah.
Cause people be like, yo, control your emotions. That's you gotta practice that.
Yeah.
That's a muscle.
Absolutely.
So it has to be trained. So like in all aspects of my life, I try to break it down to that simple concept.
Yeah.
Like, if I want something, it ain't just finna fall in my lap. It got to be repetition. It got to be consistency. It got to be training. It got to be, growing that muscle, breaking it down type of thing.
And that's good you mentioned the muscle and the brain, because that's half the battle. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be as strong as you want, you could be as quick and all that, but if you can't control this, you're fighting a losing war already, or a losing battle anyway, because it's always gonna find ways to set you back. So
right,
that's good.
Absolutely,
that's good.
Now, in terms of like the acting, I got a couple more questions before we flip and get
talk KP.
Before we get into the whole, you already know you in the man cave.
Talk KP.
So we're gonna have man cave conversation.
Come on, man. Talk to me.
Really quickly, like I want to get to what's next for you first. Like I know you talked about some projects you've already filmed in terms that are coming out in 2022. Long term, are you seeing like this is an acting thing I could do and build in Houston and build a community of actors here? Or eventually is it going to be something where, I got to get out to LA and I really got to flex and start taking over, for, being in the area where I can really network and attract the right roles that I want to work on.
I think ultimately that's the plan, is to get out, and be bigger, because we got to evolve. You can't, really get to the level you want to until you get out there and expand. So, Houston, we have a community here. Shout out to Jonathan Milton, Jannard Harper, some of the people that I've worked with, some of the people that's actually, trying to do something here in Houston. And there's many more names. That's just the ones that came to my head. Excuse me if I didn't mention you.
He throwing shade. That's really who he is. There's shade.
Hey, but there's an industry here, man. Like, we building it anyway. That's people that's doing some things. Shout out Q. That's doing some extraordinary things, man. So we're gonna build it here for sure. I mean, whatever I can do to be a part of that, to make it easier for the next person to come up and continue this going. And because we are going to make an impact. You know what I'm saying? Houston is definitely growing into something. It's just going to take time for us, just like Atlanta blew up over time, and New Orleans blew up over time. Houston is on that, I think it's on that cusp, but it's just going to take some time. But yeah, man, eventually the goal is to obviously, I'm still auditioning. I had an audition for Jordan Peele recently, a couple months ago. Even though I didn't get it, it felt good to be considered. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I for me it was, and I was actually, it was like a little extra role or whatever, but on Insecure, that just, shout out to Insecure and everybody with that. Yeah. I was a part of that, but that whole Texas freeze stuff, I couldn't make it. So, but to be a part of that, you know what I'm saying? So it's little things that's happening that I didn't mention. I'm not telling people, you know what I'm saying? Until like actually happens. But for me, it's just, I have to celebrate those small wins. And doing anything like this, man, like you got to really, you got to take that in, because a lot of times there's a lot of pressure out here. So it's like just in the industry period. So if you're not doing something, you feel like you're not doing something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's the move, man. Try to get bigger projects and, see me on regular TV, see me on Netflix, see me on, what I'm saying? It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
we claim I believe God for that.
But like I always tell people, like there's something to be said for the position you in when you just in the room. Right. Because that's your entry point. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, because before that point right there, before you walk through that door, everything beyond that door was green, was some foreign language to you, right? Now you're able to get access, what you talked about earlier, right? Absolutely. So when you get in the room, that's just that step. And I think people fail to realize when they in the room and they take that from a negative standpoint sometimes, right? It'd be like, dang, I want to be such and such, or this should be me, or they get these negative ass feelings, right? And I say pause for a moment and recognize that you fucking there.
Yeah, take that, so
many people that want to be where you at. And then now that you're there, you got to work the room.
Right.
You got to work the room.
Take advantage of that opportunity, man.
Got to work the room.
Because we don't never take, I guess, well, for me anyway, I'm going to speak to myself, because I can't, but just what I'm accustomed to and seeing, it's like we don't celebrate the progress of it. It's like, all right, it ain't big enough, so I'm not even going to say nothing about it. I'm not going to. And there's a lot of like people that I've noticed, people paying attention, bro. That's some young cats that's under me, you know what I'm saying, that's paying attention, they seeing everything, and it's like, yo, who knows, they actually may want to do this.
Right.
So, you know, I got to make sure that I'm going through all the aches and pains and all the muscle growth of it, so that way I can relate it back down to the people that's under me. I got 5 siblings, you know what I'm saying? So who knows what their ventures are. I want to just be able to, you know, shed that light on, like, yo, if you don't quit and you just, you know, you go through it, yo, you never know what can happen.
You never know what can come.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to really work a 9 to 5 all the rest of their life. So
listen,
that
was that dream that was sold to my pops and my grandfather, and I think that we that culture that's breaking the cycle. So I agree with you, right?
Yeah.
And then the younger ones coming under us even more so.
Yeah, man.
Don't talk to them about going sit at no goddamn desk in the office. You know?
None of that, dog.
You know what I'm saying?
None of that, man. Especially when they have so much, you know, they see it.
Yeah.
They see that, you know what I'm saying, you can do other things to achieve the same goal. You know what I'm saying? It's more to, you know how they say that is more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as making money, man, they see it with this social media. Yeah. You can do anything you put your mind to, dog.
Absolutely. So my last question before we walk across the street. You already know.
Across the street.
We'll walk across the street. If you had one thing that you needed to tell younger Marv now, with the information you have now, what game you spitting the little bro, you know, to kind of make that journey a little bit less easier for him?
Man, be comfortable in being who you are, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Be comfortable in that. A lot of times with opinions and people's, you know, unsolicited thoughts or whatever they thinking or whatever, as far as what you're doing, you can't allow that to shift or stop motion as far as what you're trying to do. Be you, be authentic. You know, if everybody not messing with it now, you know, they may mess with it later on, but you know, you got to be comfortable in not only loving yourself, loving God, but loving your journey too.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it's a process in everything that you do. And be proud of that, man. Be proud of being, you know, different and understanding that your process or your process or your journey rather, it's not going to be like everybody else's. Not everybody's going to have, you know, the money or well, it's in at least what I experienced.
Right.
You know, I didn't have a whole lot growing up. I'm not saying we were absolutely broke and all this and on the street, but, you know, I didn't have the same opportunities. I wasn't set up the same way. I wasn't given the knowledge, you know, about this life or just life in general because, you know, my parents were still trying to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, they had 5 kids. So it's like, all right, let's just make sure we got some stable income coming in.
Yep.
Let me introduce you guys. Let me introduce you guys to God. Because, of course, you know, I'm a PK. My dad's a pastor.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had that, which was obviously the foundation for me. But, man, all my dad knew was to go to work. Yeah. Go to work. Make sure he was taking care of his kids, man. So I honor him for that. But as far as a younger Marv, man, like myself, like, yo, just that's not your route. And be comfortable with that not being your route and doing what everybody thinks you should be doing. Yeah. Be comfortable in you and what you want to do. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the advice I would give
you did prompt one more question for me, though, before we do that.
Come on, question.
You talked about being comfortable, you know, with who you are. Was there a time when you struggled with that? I know a lot of times we talk on this show, even, you know, there's a lot of bullshit that when I say bullshit, funny, goofy moments that we have.
Yeah, you know what I was going with that.
But we also are huge advocates of mental health and,
absolutely,
and mental fitness and all of that, right? And I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit on that. Like, was there ever a moment where you weren't comfortable being the man you are now, being in your own skin as Marv? Like, was there ever some insecurities that sat there? Yeah. And, you know, what route you took to kind of overcome that? I
think as I got older, I stopped caring so much about people's opinions. But me growing up, man, I always was, and my dad put me on game about this, actually for Thanksgiving, fairly recently. He was like, you always were an entertainer. So it was like, in a sense, like, you know, even without trying, you know, I had people laughing, I had people paying attention to me, even when I didn't want them to. I didn't feel I was comfortable enough in my own self for them to be looking at me for, you know, advice or just like, yo, I like your energy, I like your style, I like this and that. I wasn't comfortable enough for me to accept that. So even now when they give me a compliment, I was like, oh, nah, man, it's you. Yeah. Nah, that's cool. I appreciate it, but nah, I like your shoes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? I would say whatever to deviate the attention off of me, but yeah, man.
Wouldn't even be about shoes. Right, just throw some random shit out
there. But I'm dealing with that now because my partner was like, "Yo, nigga, take that compliment. Like, nigga, it's in the moment. Like, take that. I see you as this." Take that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you grow. But yeah, like as far as with some insecurities and all that, man, I dealt with it so much to the point I would try to lessen myself. I turn myself down around certain people just so they can feel comfortable. Or I wouldn't be so loud. I wouldn't be so much the center of attention.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of like chill and try to play that cool. I would mimic what was around me.
Yeah.
I would, you know what I'm saying? We had this conversation at the last spot was that sometimes I would just adopt other people's, personas, their mannerisms, their, who they are. If they chilling, all right, I'm gonna just stand like this. Then I'm gonna just, if they come talk to me, I'm gonna have my voice like this. Whoa, boy, you crazy, huh?
Hey, straight up, I'm loud in the motherfucker.
All the time. But hey, were you serious? Like, hey, this is what we gonna do, man.
Yeah, I know how to turn it on.
Right. But that's you all the time. And if you're not like that, I'm like, hey, what's wrong with KP?
What's wrong with me? Yeah.
But yeah, I used to do that, man. I used to turn myself down because, I didn't like being all that. And then somebody would make a comment like, why you just, whoa? And in the moment, I'm like, I'm not worried about it. But I get home and think about it like, damn.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to a sense, like a lot of people who've ever been in that situation, they just kind of battle with it until they learn to accept it.
Exactly. Yep.
It's like, people tell me all the time, there's no point in dumbing yourself down.
Yeah.
To lessen yourself to people who should be able to, should be, eager to catch up, right? So, and I always let that stick with me, right? Because there is certain people who walk in the room and they just demand attention, don't have to say a word, don't have to, don't have to do too much, don't have to go out their way to shake the hand. It's just, and I talk about this on the show a lot, it's an aura, like people feel, and that's why I'm big on energy, like you feel that shit when you walking around.
Absolutely.
And, like, so now, boom, across the street, you talked about
we're across the street already, cuz. Yeah. All right. We're across the street.
Yeah, we're across the street now because like the first thing you had mentioned, like you had plugged it in that you used to be married, which I already know.
Yeah.
And of course, and I come from a similar background. And we ain't gotta break down the details of those specifics, but I just kind of want to talk about, what place did that put you in going through that process?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, whenever you were going through the divorce, and then like, what it took for you to come on the other side of that.
Oh boy, you went straight here. We really on the other side of the street. That whole process, man. It was definitely a moment where I had to grow up, and I'm still, I still have things I deal with.
Yeah.
But that whole process, man, was a tug at your heartstrings, and you have to really value what you want out of life and who you're going to be, or who you want to be, rather, as a man. So, for me anyway, that's how I looked at it. But it was tough, man. And then of course we kept in contact. That didn't help. You know what I'm saying? Because it was very confusing to her. So I think, well, both of us. Let me say it that way. I may be politically correct. It was difficult, man. It was, you're talking about two people that I met her my freshman year. You know what I'm saying? So I was 18. Yeah, 18, fresh 18. And I mean, we talking about kids that got together. It was great, man. I mean, we had our moments and all that, but I mean, from 18 to what, 29, 30? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, that's especially, that being all that I mean, you get how you got here in this world, man. You don't know if you're coming or going. So, it's the fear of that because, going into the world by yourself, you never had to really experience that. Yeah. Not in my adult life. Yeah. In my 20s, I was with her. So, being now that I'm out, as a single man and doing all this, man, it's like, it's definitely something you got to become accustomed to. It's scary. It's all these different things, man. But you got to stay focused on you and what you want to do. Keep God first. Keep God in the middle. I'm saying that although we did split, but still, for yourself, you got to do that, man. But yeah, it was tough.
Right, and then people do get the misconception, like when you always want to like still praise God even in those moments.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Like
absolutely.
That's God saying, yeah, you went and took this route yourself. Right. So you had to learn that lesson yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Now let me order your steps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that, because I know for me personally, like in terms of who I am and my personality, that doesn't mean I had to walk this whole tight, narrow rope. I'd never sit in front of people and act like after my divorce, and then it was like, because I'll be honest with you, I got way more spiritual after my divorce, right?
You need him. I need him.
But I needed to understand him on my terms. So it wasn't a situation where I ran to the church every Sunday. I talked to God on a Tuesday and in the morning, right? Yep. We having talks, right? So I got a lot more close with him, right? And he made a lot of things more clear. Right? They say God don't speak to you in words; He show you signs and it's felt. Right?
Absolutely,
it's energies, like when He talking to you.
Absolutely,
right? And though so because of that, it's like now, yes, it's a lot harder to fuck with me and get close to me and with my emotions that I've built up. But that's because God was like, yeah, you were reckless with the motherfuckers. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I like how you put motherfuckers and God in the same sentence. That's beautiful.
He know who He made, bro. God know I love Him to death, but
I love that.
It's the tongue you gave me, bro.
I love that,
you know what I'm saying? But I'm being real. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, so like when chicks be on that whole you gotta chase me thing, or you just like being single, or you toxic, or all. It's like, nah, I just ain't finna let you get close to me.
You know what I'm saying? And I can see it a mile away, man. Because I mean, just to piggyback what you're saying, like God is a God of a restoration. He gives new graces every day. So even with that happening, man, even as us going through our crap and doing all that, He's still there, man. Like, yo, I told you, I've been here this whole time. You ain't consult with me. You ain't holler at me. And now you want to do things on your own. All right. So now we're going to see how this work out. And you do it. Yeah, you got it.
I'm here, but I'm just like, you walking, I'm just behind you.
You got it. Because he obviously is a God of free will. So, he's not going to really insert himself where he's not wanted. You dig what I'm saying? So with that, yeah, man, I feel you on that. As far as just, when you get closer with him, you kind of see the bullshit a mile away, like you said before.
And I'm so cool with pointing that out. Yeah. Like my favorite thing with women, and it's not favorite as in like a ha. It's a favorite thing more like, see, we both we still working on this. Is when I can stand in what I stand in because of the experiences where I'm bringing the education.
Right.
So like, nah, I know things are good right now. We 10 days in or we 3 months in. I know we straight, but you ain't really got to know Caleb, the one that don't really feel like being bothered sometimes.
Ain't met him off like that.
I don't want you on my phone right now, but just because I need some me time. You ain't really met him, and I don't even know how you gonna respond to bro.
Cause bro, cause
he
your face right now.
He won. You see what I'm saying?
He different,
and like that takes time to get there because you know how dudes is, like, especially me. Like when I like you, I'm giving that energy. Yep. But I know that. And I tell women, like, you can't expect, yes, we going on dates every week or, every other week because I'm getting time in. But as we get closer to each other, the lavish dates are going to slow down and the more get to know you stuff has to come into effect. Right. Because life is not about that fucking glamour.
At all.
It's about, can two people match and sustain each other and support each other and like beat up for each other and go through the bullshit.
Absolutely.
And I just need you to see that bullshit.
And that's the key component, man, because like going through the bullshit, it's going to determine whether we're going to sink or swim. Because depending on how you respond to it, and depending on how I'm going to respond to it, goes to determine how we're going to get through it. So, a lot of times is, well, she said this, well, I'm going to say this. Or, we really operate in that vein, like, I ain't going to let you hurt me. I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. Or, I'm going to protect me before I let you, you know what I'm saying? So, it's never really things are not really done collectively. It's always our perspectives until, we have two people that can communicate that and we can work through things, through life rather.
Right. And that's sad though, because we're going to always approach that putting our emotions first.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So that's a battle in itself.
Absolutely.
But now that you are single now, right? You've been, how long have you been single since your situation?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've done some dating, but
like full on bling is what,
full
3
on
years?
About 3 years.
So like I always hear this thing, and I actually had a
about two and a half.
A 2.5.
Let me fix it.
Right?
Politically correct.
People are bringing them receipts on you, but like I had this woman tell me, for real, you know they gonna come online, DMs.
Oh really? Yeah.
I found your divorce paperwork on Google. But like so I was having this conversation, and she was like, she asked me my status. She was like, "Are you single?" I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "My bad. How many women think they in a relationship?"
That's funny.
And like when I sat back and thought about that question, like it goes beyond me just being like, oh, nobody, if I'm being real with myself. Right. So like, I'm flipping that question to you real quick.
Why you gonna flip it on me? That's so childish.
Can you stand in your truth and just be like, do you really be walking that single life, or is it a situation, you got situations where like people could perceive that you kicking it with such and such?
I'm getting there. And what I mean by that is that, you know, I have had run-ins. I've had, you know, situations where obviously, you know, trying to figure out exactly what it is and this and this, whoop-de-whoop. Now I can say like, yeah, you know, I'm living in that. But I'm getting better.
You living in, what's that?
The single part.
Okay, I was about to say, don't just call it that. Okay,
the single part. But what I mean is that, you know, because that was another thing too, man. Like it's something you have to really address about yourself. It's like, you gotta stop doing the bullshit at some point, bro. Yeah. Like you really gotta man up and you know, be honest and speak your truths and let that person decide if they want to fuck with that or not. If they want to deal with that, if they want to be a part, whoop de whoop. So yeah. Now I live in the single vein, but at the same time, man, I'm just working on being honest and being comfortable and saying, well, let me say this, being comfortable in hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times I would operate like that. I would, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of give them false hope in a sense.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't totally turn them away because I don't want to be an asshole.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes in not being an asshole, you don't necessarily have to be an asshole. You can decline respectfully. Yeah. But a lot of times having that attachment or that lingering, you know what I'm saying, could really turn into something that you didn't anticipate it turn into. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean by I'm trying to work on it.
I agree. And so like so the question came recently. Mm-hmm. So I was able to look her square in the eyes right now and say I'm single. But it's because of how I've learned to just communicate at least where I'm at.
That growth, right. Yeah.
At least where I'm at. So it's like, but in the past, absolutely. If you ask me that question now, like, is there women who think they in a relationship with me, bro? I was wigging. But it's not on purpose. If I'm playing games. It's just like, yo, I've told you I really don't want a girlfriend right now, but like where we at in terms of dating and our vibes and how we just pull up and link up on each other, that aspect is so fucking dope, right? Yeah. So to me, it's just that.
Yeah.
But to her, it's like, yo, we ain't got no titles, but that's my nigga.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Say it, unsay it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's, and like whenever like that pressure gets too much, you didn't have to remind them, hey, yo, you know, we ain't in no relationship, and I realize now that that's low key fucked up.
That is
because you presenting an energy like y'all are, but then you telling them that yo, I'ma also give this to her, and her. So that's why I had to stop doing that. I'll be real with you.
God, hey, it was crazy. I just had a conversation recently. Someone that was close to me, had to just call me out on my shit. Though, like it was just like. You gotta quit doing this and this and whoop the whoop. You know what I'm saying? If you want to progress, like this is why this is this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, damn, I never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
And this is why I did this and whoop the whoop. Like, oh shit, I didn't even know. Like,
let me ask you something. Because we can clearly identify when we got I know I can clearly identify when I got a fire ass vibe with a chick, right? When it's just like shit just makes sense, like it's effortless, we want to link up, we want to do all that, yet there's a pause button on that status, right? In your own words and like you not jumping to have that relationship title, what's the pause for you? Is it strictly in the fear of the unknown? I'm gonna let you collect your own. I don't want to guide you no way.
I'm gonna say that what's the stop button for me to be like, yo, this. Probably, man. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't know. I mean, as human, we see things and a mile away and be like, nah, this probably not gonna work for me. Patience. Yeah, probably patience.
I'm about to say it's more of a feeling, right?
Yeah, it's probably like, patience. It's
something got to feel.
Because I know what I do now. It's like a lot of times I am working, man. Sometimes I'm going the whole weekend. You know what I'm saying? Or weeks. Well, not weeks. I haven't made it to that point yet. But eventually in this business, in this industry, man, like that's eventually is gonna come.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, patience now and being able to hear me out versus, all right, I know this is what's going on. I'm not. I hear you, but I don't hear you. I feel in my gut this is what's happening.
Yeah,
and it's not really not having that. That's I guess that safe space to communicate.
Yeah,
that'll be like, nah, I don't think this is. Let me pause this for a minute.
Yeah, mine's is more of a feeling, bro. Yeah. Mine is like it's like I'm kicking it with you, and it's like everything feels good from the physical.
Right.
But it's like I haven't tapped into that dang, like, I don't, dang, I'm 2 a.m. I woke up and you was the first thing on my mind. Right. Because a lot of times when I wake up in that moment, I'm thinking about something with the pod or the merch or with Microsoft with the gig.
That's big.
I gotta like my mind is always on that.
Right.
And like I'm not saying that I just want a woman to come in and take me off all my work and stuff. But no, I want to make sure that you an important piece of my life. And it doesn't just exist in your physical presence, but it exists in our connection that's beyond that soul tie shit that we talk about. But then it also brings me to a question where I because in that conversation, right, and just kind of walking with her through it, is like I didn't really go all the way in with her, but it was like I had made a comment just being like, I don't know if women really understand, how to treat a man. You know what I'm saying? And what they what they should be expecting from us, and what, and how to make sure that we feel like we the man in these situations, right? So I wanted to bring that question to you. It's like, do you, in your own opinion, do you think it's a situation where by and large that like women are not taught how to treat men, and then like we suffer from a culture because of that?
Ooh, boy, you asking a question. Yay. Lord, boy, you asking a question. I would say, man, that can go both ways, man. That's you know what I'm saying? As men obviously not prepped, and you know what I'm saying, that's obviously, moving in ways that's messed up the whole ecosystem. So I would say to that, yes, of course. I mean, but like I said, it goes both ways. What I've run into, what I've come to see and understand, especially, man, I'm probably gonna bite me for this, but especially and where we from, man. Like I think where we from, we have some of the hardest women. You know what I'm saying? Just in general. And it's really about the fault, because, how a lot of them grew up, or what's this and what's that. So, I had to really understand, like, going into a relationship, I'm going to have to not only have that patience, but I'm going to have to teach how to love me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm going to have to go through that whole spill, and vice versa with her too. Like she has to be okay with not only being vulnerable, but being able to speak up on how she feels about certain things. Because, the culture, obviously, where we come from is, is they either, kind of by default and behind the scenes, or they're real loud and open. You know what I'm saying? And then being real loud and open, call it what it is. There's some women that's more harder than men. Like, there's some true niggas out here. You know what I'm saying? That'll bust your ass if you're playing with them. But
straight punch you dead in your nose.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? So, but, with that, man, it's like they're going to need a special man to be able to deal with that. If not, that's going to go all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Whoever else she deals with. And it's not really truly her fault. She just really didn't have that guidance or that representation, rather, of what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah, and so I agree with you. Whenever I thought about it, it was like, I don't think it's more about like just a women thing, and that's why I just touched on it with her. Yeah, I think it's more of like we got to start at how we're being raised. Right? Yeah, absolutely. I think that the one constant from women not understanding how to initially treat men, and men vice versa not understanding how to accept love from women and treat women, is the absent father. Yep. Right. And of course we can go behind the whole science of that, the whole political conversation about how we were targeted with the epidemics and things like that. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the responsibility still sits with the black man to fix it. Yeah. Right. So I think it's more about what you just said about us learning each other in the process, right? I say this one thing, and I swear to God, I'm gonna have it on a shirt one day. I say my relationship is my education, right? Or like the relationship is the education, because there's no way I pull up on you and I meet you, shorty, right? And I get your number and we talking, right? Yeah. And we a week in, right? I know nothing about you. Wow. Right? There's zero knowledge. There's nothing going on. And I have to learn day in and day out how to treat you, how to make you smile, how to recognize when you're going through these breakdowns and emotions, when your cycle started, when you just tripping because, you bleeding a little bit. Yep. What's your mannerisms? When you like to laugh, how you want to be touched. That's all education. So my relationship is my education, right? Because if without me putting the effort in to learn who you are, shorty, we just physically fucking on each other.
That's it. That's really, we for the moment.
Physically, that's all it is. You see what I'm saying?
You talking? Come on, God.
Now let me ask you something real quick because this is gonna be my last question before we go into bro talk. Is now I just talked about how the physical versus the actual intellect and the education, right? I want to ask, in your opinion, do you think that there's a such thing as too much casual sex? As a single man, because right now we single, we can do whatever we want. We can go fuck on whoever we want to fuck on, and it's cool as men, right? Right. Do you ever get to a point where you like, yo, this shit too much? I think too much casual sex. It's not only confusing, man, because the way it's designed is, you got two spirits, two souls coming together. So, when you do that, you're attached. Whether you like to believe that or not, man, that's a soul transfer of energies. Transfer of energies.
Absolutely. So when you do that, man, it's like, all right, somebody just walked off with a whole piece of you. And
say it again. Man,
somebody literally just adopted your soul and walked off with it. Yes. So, with too much casual sex, man, it brings on confusion, stress, all these different things that you necessarily didn't have before that happened. Yeah. So, man, absolutely. Too much of it can definitely be distracted. You really can't get nothing done, really, if you're doing it so much. Right. If it's not a relationship for real. Right. Yeah. When I was talking about single. When you got a chick and that's your only box, man, fuck like a rabbit, please. Because that's what you're trying to do. No, I'm trying to, but I was talking, and I agree with what you're saying because and I'll be honest with you, me doing my own self work, I can recognize now every time when I jumped in the game where I just wanted to just be, having casual sex and just be on some shit, I was suppressing a whole bunch of emotions I ain't want to feel, bro. That's crazy. We talked about that. I honor you for, what I'm saying, your involvement. It's like, damn, it's like, I remember when we used to do this, me and her, we was like this. Let me go, I don't feel that shit. Hey, love, go do this. You can come slide through real quick. No, real shit, like on some real crazy shit. I'm not there now. Thank God I'm at this point now with I'm cool with dry dick. Like, I'm cool with going to sleep. I dig that. And we ain't touching on each other, right? I dig that. So I'm cool with that. But in the past, all my casual sex when it was just too far, right? Man, I was suppressing so many emotions. That's great. And then doing things out of just what you're accustomed to. That's normal. I'm gonna do that, and I know I can do that. So I'm gonna do that. And I encourage niggas now, bro. Me knowing who I am and what I've built myself to, bro. Find a way. If you find yourself in them situations where you potentially putting women in situations where you playing with their emotions, because I have, and that you bullshitting with them. Find another way to channel that energy, shit out. Yeah, because I promise you the headache is not working. By the grace of God, I've escaped without any children and mistakes in that way. There's been some. But there's been some miscommunication. Yeah, there's been some fault. I know, so that's why I was like, Caleb, God has put you in this position. Don't F it up. No. Listen, hey, young Mar, young actor extraordinaire. Come on, man. Young Mr. He's Him. Hey, I definitely appreciate you for coming through, bro, because it's always a pleasure to chop it up with you. And like the conversation we having right now, bro, I think we was having it at crew when I was smoking. And you was looking at me like, yo, you really a smoker. That's another thing that's shocking. Like you really do that now. So it's like, and I don't judge everybody, y'all do y'all thing, but for sure. That's crazy. You know me, I've always walked in my own steps, been 10 toes down as Caleb. I don't give a fuck who don't like it. And it's crazy. It's wild because your energy is so big. Yeah. Like when you do that, you mellow out. Yeah, that's exact. I love to be that background. You mellow out. But we at the point now at the show we finna wrap up, and we got this thing called Bro Talk. Okay. And I know you familiar with having conversation with bros, man, and kind of going through the bro talk. I don't know where it's going. Basically what a bro talk is basically any game you want to give. It could be any knowledge you want to drop, any gems you want to give, or anything funny you want to put, or anything you want to plug. But just leave the people with a message from Marv, and then I'll wrap it up and I'll go after you. Be your best self at all times. If people are going to buy into you, you have to have a display. What I mean by that is, in everything that you do, man, look at yourself as not only a brand, but just how you want to be accepted. I'm learning that now myself, not just putting out in regards to work and self too. I don't want to just put out anything and be like, yo, just accept this because this is who I am. I believe, where we are, it's time out for that. And it's time to try to be the best people that we can be, because we have a whole generation behind us that's paying attention to everything. So depending on how you react to a situation, how you carry yourself, and what you think is cool and what people are going to have to accept with, if they want to or not, it's going to determine how the little homie behind you is going obviously move through the world and do this thing. Because if you think it's cool that you doing it, you know, you're gonna do it too. And I like the line that JC always said, man, if I was gonna be a doctor, all my nephews gonna do the same. I look at my little brothers, my siblings behind me. I feel like, that's why it's important now than ever for me to go for my dreams, because I don't want to go through the rest of my life, not knock on nobody working a 9 to 5 and doing all that. But if I didn't go after something, man, what impact am I making on the world, and what message am I putting out there if I didn't go all the way for it, even if I got to sleep on the street to get it?
That's it. That's fucking real.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
My man.
Hey, yeah, each one teach one. So,
you did.
When you get the knowledge, you give it back.
Absolutely.
Hey, my bro talk for this day is going to be real simple, man. Prioritize self, man. You cannot learn to love somebody else until you've learned to put yourself in a position of love. Receive love, then shed that light to the world. I am KP of the Certified Steppaz Podcast. This is my fucking dog, Marv.
Yee!
This is episode 49. We going to see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.